asking you, what are you going to do for my generation and my people?
Amen. A round of applause. Round of applause for our next U.S. Senator. In my 4 terms, I have passed 60 bipartisan bills in a Republican-dominated legislature. Bills that raise teacher pay, that lower the cost of housing and childcare and prescription drugs, including insulin. I've also gone toe-to-toe with the Republican extremists who are trying to defund our public schools with a private school voucher scam. I have defended our students from bills that would ban books, that would whitewash our curriculum, that would go after our teachers and our librarians. And then last summer, my colleagues here, Representative Davis, Representative Rose, we broke quorum to shine a national spotlight on their redistricting power grab, which is systematically diluting the voting power of Black and brown Texans all over this state. Just in the last 12 months, we have seen the most aggressive attack on Black political power since Jim Crow. The rulings from the Supreme Court, the gutting of the Voting Rights Act, these racist redistricting maps, the stakes for this election could not be higher. We have a lot of work to do, DeSoto, a lot of work to do. I, as the candidate, have a lot of work to do. We, as a campaign, have a lot of work to do. But if we do that work, if we do it together, we are going to do something extraordinary in November of this year. We are going to end 30 years of one-party rule and elect a senator who's going to serve all of us. All right, that's enough of me talking. I now want to open this up for your comments, your questions. I am a former middle school teacher, so if you don't raise your hands, I'm just going to call on you. So I recognize you.
Hi, my name is Catalea, and I'm 7 years old, and I am from Dallas.
I love it. I love it.
Well, as I look around our community today, I know that our leaders aren't working for the people anymore, and I'm worried if they aren't thinking about how this affects my generation. As
Amen.
As Malcolm X once said, I am for truth, no matter who tells it. I am for justice, no matter who is for or against.
All right.
So I am asking you, what are you going to do for my generation and my people?
Amen. A round of applause. Round of applause for our next U.S. Senator. So it's young people like you, and I mean real young, that don't have political power. Because unlike all of us adults, you can't vote. You can't donate, you can't lobby, and therefore your concerns, your needs get overlooked by people in power. And it's why we need to elect public servants, like the people you see sitting around this circle, to make sure that we are fighting for you, that we are fighting for our youngest, tiniest Texans. We need to fight to make sure that your public schools have all the money they need. We need to fight to make sure you've got the health care that you need to grow up big and strong and healthy. And then we've got to make sure that you have an economy when you grow up where you can succeed, where you can give the gift that you're meant to give to the world. And it's our job to make sure that you can give that gift. So thank you for asking your question.
You're welcome.
And I'm excited to vote for you one day. Or hear your sermons. I don't know what you're going to do, but just taking us to church. Thank you. Next question, you got to be cuter than that. So,
my question is, as a former lawyer with the U.S. Department of Education, Office for Civil Rights, I am very disgusted with what's happening education-wide, civil rights-wide, and I would ask you to please, because the Education Department Black women, not only with the education department and all the other federal agencies, have been impacted the most.
Right.
So I would ask you to have a platform to include how we can put these people back to work.
So a few things. We have seen hundreds of thousands of black women laid off because of this crazy DOGE process. And I don't want to call them public employees. I want to call them what they are, which is public servants. These are the folks who selflessly sign up to protect our communities, to protect our schools and our kids, and they deserve so much better than what they got from Elon Musk's crazy DOGE committee. And I am committing to you that when we win this seat, when we win a Senate majority, we will repeal these DOGE cuts. We will restore these public servants to their positions. And let me explain real quick, because this is not just about someone's job. This is about all of us. These jobs are critical. They protect us. They protect our economy. And it's why we need to do so much better by our public servants. So thank you for asking that question. You also mentioned education. So I, along with Representative Gina Hinojosa, our next governor, she's the best. I think our colleagues can agree Gina's the best. She and I sit next to each other on the floor of the House. We sit in the back row because we're the bad kids who cause all the problems. She and I led the fight against these private school voucher scams. And let me just real quick, for those that don't know the history of this, the first voucher scam was introduced in Texas in 1957. And for the history buffs in the room, you know that was just a couple years after Brown v. Board of Education. That first voucher bill was a deliberate attempt to allow white parents to take their kids out of newly integrated public schools and send their kids to white-only private schools. These voucher scams have a dark, disturbing history. They call it school choice. You probably heard that slogan when it comes to vouchers. It's not school choice, it's the school's choice. Because the private schools get to decide who's admitted and who's not. And the states that have tried these private school voucher scams, they tend to reject our students with disabilities, our students with special needs, our students in special education. They reject our students with behavior problems. They reject the students who need the most help. They take the students who are the easiest to teach and whose parents can afford the gap between the voucher and the tuition bill. So this is not, you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at the data on this voucher scam in Texas. 75% of the recipients of this voucher money already have their kids in private school. So now you're taking money out of underfunded schools here in DeSoto, and you're giving it to wealthy parents who are already sending their kid to St. Mark's. It's why we all call vouchers welfare for the wealthy. It is a transfer of wealth from the bottom, from the middle, to the very top. And it is immoral. It is unconscionable. It's unacceptable. And I hope that I can be part, as well as everybody in this room, can be part of a movement that takes back this state and repeals this insane voucher program and fully funds our public schools. And can I get a show of hands? Do we have any teachers here with us today, or retired teachers? Let's give them a round of applause. We have teachers in this community, in this state, who are driving Ubers at night to make extra money. The teaching profession is the most important profession, because without it, there would be no other professions. Everything comes back to teachers. And so not only do we need to repeal vouchers, but we gotta pay teachers what they deserve. We gotta make sure that we are funding universal early childhood education for every single kid in this state and in this country. And we gotta make sure that every single child, regardless of their skin color, regardless of the zip code they're born into, regardless of the language that they grow up speaking, has the opportunity to fulfill their God-given potential. And that is what we can do when we win this race.